We are on the record. So,
Shouldn't we get an alert that it's recording too? I didn't get that.
I'm showing that it is recording.
Okay, good enough. All right. Good morning, everyone. This is the August 17th, 2022 session of the Zoning Hearing Examiner docket. My name is Scott Heenan. I am the Zoning Hearing Examiner for the City of Cincinnati today, and I will be trying to speak in English. I will be presiding over this hearing. The case before us today is we have two, is ZH20220115 and 116. Involves the neighboring properties of 1919 and 1921 Bigelow Street. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. The hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. Hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. The public will then have an opportunity to speak after the applicant has presented its case. If there is more than one person opposing an application, those persons should decide among themselves the length of time that each will have to speak. If an opposition group is in attendance, I may request that a spokesperson be chosen to speak on behalf of the group. If the applicant is represented by an attorney, the applicant's attorney may cross-examine any person who has testified at the hearing. If a party of record is represented by an attorney, the attorney for that party of record may present witnesses after the applicant has presented its case and may also cross-examine any person who has testified at the hearing. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to an application, the applicant shall have an opportunity to rebut the testimony and or argument offered in opposition. After the applicant has been given an opportunity to rebut any testimony and or argument offered in opposition, any attorney for a party of record will have the opportunity to make a closing statement. Finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make a closing statement. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions can be expected usually within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I can also interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make comments. I may also refuse to consider hearsay testimony or documents. This means evidence you want to introduce that consists of a statement made by a person who is not present at the hearing or a document that includes the statement of a person who is not at the hearing. Since we are doing this via video conferencing technology, in the event of any technical difficulties with that technology, I may continue or postpone this hearing at my discretion. Since we're doing this virtually, we do not have a sign-in sheet. However, I show that we have present with us is Weston Menzel, Margot Lambert, Brent and Lori Baker, and Jonathan Evans. With that, I will ask that all persons that wish to provide testimony take themselves off mute. Raise your right hands and answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you will give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
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 Okay, with that, I will turn things over to the applicant.
Great. Sorry, is that we should speak now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. My name is Jonathan Evans with Evans Engineering, and we made the application on behalf of the two owners of the properties at 1919 and 1921 Street. We've been engaged to assist with, making this application and developing construction plans to try to help them create some off-street parking, some much-needed off-street parking for their residents. So, it's really, we believe, a really simple or straightforward request that we've put forward, and we're asking for a special exception to allow front yard parking within an RMX district, which isn't by right allowed within that zoning district. But this property they're a little bit unique. They both have frontage on two public streets, be it the east side on Bigelow and the west side on Auburn, which I might refer to as Short Auburn because it's a little short stretch of the Auburn street. So, currently the parking situation for these residents and many of the people through there would be all, on street parking, either on Bigelow Street or on Short Auburn. and neither are wonderful solutions for these residents as they live there. So we're just, really making a simple request to try to put in a curb cut for each of these lots to allow for, one vehicle to pull in off of the public street and park, on a parking pad or a driveway. Really the reason, one is, to allow these people again to pull off of the street and be safe. The parking, or really there's a lack of parking on Short Auburn. The street is very narrow, and it's a dead end street, and it's very difficult to traverse. Worse so now because of the construction that's going on south of these lots, but it's a very narrow street, and parking on the street is just really not a good option. So that's really it. I don't want to belabor it. We have, sent these plans in to Department of Transportation and the zoning. Obviously, we got the denial letter from zoning. That's why we're here today. But we've cleared the hurdle with Department of Transportation or the city engineer to allow for these driveways to be installed if the zoning hearing examiner, sees it favorably. And the reason I mention that is because we did go through those steps. The city engineering also requires approval from them to pave more than 60% of your frontage. And these lots are very narrow. They're only 19, 20 feet wide. And the driveway itself, about 12 or 13 feet. So we exceed that 60% of the frontage. But we have presented these plans to the city engineer, and they have approved them, conceptually, I'll say.
If I may interject, I can give history about the property and why it's so such a unique situation. I bought the property approximately 15 years ago from Carl Westmoreland. I actually got it at auction when he neglected to pay his property taxes, and so I bought it. And so it's originally both the Baker's property and my property was one property. And that's why we bought that, but we divided it and sold the second half, which is now Lori and Brent's property, to 1921, dividing it in half, making it so narrow that even if somebody bought these lots that are now officially two separate lots, you couldn't build anything on them. So they're technically frontage lots, but again, they're too small to build a house on now. So they're essentially our backyards. And so that's kind of the history of this piece of property and why it is kind of an unusual situation here.
Okay. I don't know if the other owners or if the applicant has anything else to add. Otherwise, I'll turn this over to Weston and see what the staff has to say.
I don't have much to add. I would just say that we actually had our lots combined a couple of years ago. So it's one continuous property from Bigelow to Auburn on our side. We had to do it to build a deck and deal with setback variances. So it's not technically a front yard on our side.
All right. In that case, Weston, what you got?
Good morning. I just want to highlight the findings that we noted in our report. The lots are very narrow, and that combined with a double frontage scenario limits or prohibits conforming off-street parking. Like they can't actually build any parking on the side of their houses, which would be conforming because the lots are too narrow. There's not enough space between the house and the lot line, and its proposal is compatible with the other nearby off-street parking scenarios in the same block. We didn't see any adverse impacts of the proposal on nearby properties, and the proposal will enhance the parking for the subject property and also enhance the safety and access for emergency vehicles on that street by removing the on-street parking and replacing with the off-street parking. So. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to always give you the final word. You got anything you want to add?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. I do not.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, then I will go ahead and close this hearing out, and I should have a decision to you rather quickly, almost certainly within 2 weeks.
Thank you very much.
All right.